be regulation and then drama everywhere you look. It just erupted, it exploded, including one of the Brownlow Medal favourites, Isaac Heeney, who might find himself in a little bit of hot water for this errant fist to the face of Jimmy Webster. There it is, the right hand swinging back, bloodied nose, maybe a broken nose to Jimmy Webster after this one. This is going to be a big news story.
Is Isaac Heeney a player that you would think throws his hands around like that on purpose? No. But he has, and he's hit a guy in the head. He's going to have to pay the price.
All right, Joey, there's so much to get through. You're going to start us, though, with your first crack.
Yeah, that was from Marvel Stadium today, and clearly we'll talk about the Sydney Swans just getting the staggers ever so slightly. But the big story to come out of the game is the Isaac Heeney incident with Jimmy Webster that is almost certain to see him get suspended and cop a week sanction for this off-the-ball incident. And that is, for a guy that at one stage was the raging red-hot favourite for the Brownlow Medal, he's probably going to have an asterisk next to his name on Brownlow night, and that's probably good news for Dacos, Cripps and Bontempelli. But this incident here is going to most likely get him 1 week suspension. And the reason for that is because in past, and nearly every other year, that would be classed as careless because there was no way that he intentionally meant to hit Jimmy Webster in the face. But at the start of the year, the AFL came down and said, we want to clamp down on these off-the-ball incidents. We want to upgrade these incidents to intentional if this happens. So you can see there where it says in instances where a player intends to push off or force or fend off to get away from an opponent for the purpose of attacking the ball or trying to get the ball, the player can then be charged with a strike. It will be upgraded from careless to intentional to try and avoid these incidents. Now, there's been a couple of examples previously. If you think back to Jesse Hogan, when he got the slap in the face, he was given a one-match sanction, and so was Zach Butters for an off-the-ball hit as well to the face of Tom Green. The good news for Isaac Heeney, both of those went to the tribunal and got off.
So
and this is
could he
it.
get off?
So, I mean, there's precedence there that his best chance is to go to the tribunal, fight it and get it downgraded from intentional to careless. But I think we'll see tomorrow morning he'll be given a one-match sanction.
They don't like asterisks at the AFL. On Brownlow night, they don't like them. If you're in the running, there's sometimes you can have a bit of fortune. Well, I'm a believer that they do slant one way with this sort of thing, and you can go the other way if you like, or burn the other side of the coin. But Paddy Cripps a couple of years ago, and I just think if there's a way to navigate through, they'll find that way. To me, that's just a week.
Yeah.
Everyone's known that since the start of the season, and we've just allowed these things to creep back into the game again. Where do you sit?
No, I agree with you. I don't think there is any way. I mean, they'll definitely challenge it. My mind went back to Barry Hall in the 2005 prelim. And it was a different incident. Hall's was more vigorous than that. And lower down, but they found a way to get Barry Hall to play in the grand final.
Yeah, that's right. In the end, it wasn't costly, but that was a significant moment in the game. So how 4 umpires, and the umpire that was in that zone did not see that, because St Kilda were only 6 points down, then they'd kick 5 on the trot and were coming. Isaac Heeney takes that mark, kicks a goal, gets another one a minute later to give them an 18-point lead. It would have been a bigger story if Sydney had held on to win.
If he goes then, who's your Brownlow favourite then?
I think Dacos still, yep.
So, yeah,
but it's going to be a great Brownlow count. Cripps, Bontempelli, Zach Merritt. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be an awesome night.
Probably set fire to 25 Sydney votes as well, hasn't it? That Warner could have, or Gordon could have picked up. Oh, well, it's the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, and Kingy, while we're on Naughty Isaacs.
Yeah, I just think that this is crap from Isaac Rankine, and he's picked off a defenceless player when he knows he's completely vulnerable, sets himself and just takes him out. Now, he doesn't mean to get him in the head, but he's going to hurt him. There's no other way of looking at this. He knows he's not looking. He sights him and flushes him. Now, this is... Everyone's going to say, oh, no, this is just a normal act, a normal bump, a normal carry on your way back to your position, but not at that force, not for me. The Isaac Rankine one versus the Luke Parker one are a good discussion. And you talk about intent with these sorts of actions. Luke Parker didn't mean to cause the damage that he went to cause. He went braced, he went past the ball, all those sorts of things. This one here, the first port of call is to hurt your opponent.
You think
absolutely. Why else are you doing it? Why else are you going with that force? This is a guy who understands the nuances of the game better than anyone. I can put him into a stoppage with 20 blokes around him and he can navigate his way through, and you're telling me he doesn't know what he's doing here, 1v1 in 30 metres of space when the play is not even in motion. So I'm really disappointed in this action, and I think the AFL should and will come down hard on this from Isaac.
So what do you think? Because everyone probably thought Parker was 5+, didn't we? Most agreed it was in that ball. Do you see this in this range?
Well, I don't know what the sanction... You can never work out the table, to be fair. Yeah. If you're going on intent, then I think it's in the same area. But if you're just going on the outcome... which is where we've gone to. The outcome in the Parker case was severe, and the young man spent some time in hospital and clearly missed a fair bit of work and all those sorts of things. This is not that.
No.
But it's pretty bad.
Probably more like 3, I think, seems to be.
How do you come up with a number with these things? I mean,
on that.
Yeah, it's
and
really
they'll
disappointing.
probably challenge it and probably argue issues of intent, and who knows where it'll end up.
We love watching him play. We love all those
you do.
things. I'm probably his
biggest fan.
I'll wear his badge to
You're
most
his number one
games.
fan, yep.
You've covered his back.
But this is not on. We've been trying to take these things out of the game for ages, and that's just crap.
All right, broader issue in terms of the actual match that we saw today. Are we harbouring genuine doubts now about the Sydney Swans? They're still effectively 3 games clear on the top of the ladder. They're 2 and a mountain of percent because Carlton lost, but you put it on the agenda on Thursday night, just a few little things.
Subtle. They're subtle, and it's not necessarily what the Swans are doing. It's what everyone else is doing to the Swans. They're playing a different way. They're playing with more control. They're taking more marks, taking time off the clock, more uncontested marks. So if you look at time in possession, which is a measure of control, really, they've only lost it 5 times for the season. Round 3 against Richmond, loss. Round 11 against the Dogs, where they just fell across the line because Richards got knocked out just after half-time and Aaron Norton was off as well. They just beat the Giants by 3.5 goals. Fremantle loss and today St Kilda loss are the 5 times they've lost time in possession. I think teams now are saying if we let them play their short kicking game through the middle of the ground and come at us at speed, we're in trouble. Got to play with patience, got to have a slower build-up more often than not, unless you can absolutely go and the coast is clear. So the challenge is now back to the Swans and how they handle that.
Yeah, they're 3 losses. They're 18th in the competition for marks against. They're averaging 113 marks against in losses. So to Kingy's point, teams are not going to get caught up into playing the way the Sydney Swans want to play. They're going to play at their speed and at their tempo, make sure they're set behind the ball so when eventually you do turn it over, they can't get that slingshot that they were dominating with at the start of the year.
113 when they lose and 90 when they win. It's a big gap, isn't it? It's a huge gap. So the Saints were fantastic, weren't they? We sat there, we couldn't wait to see what the outcome was going to be. This is the biggest one-on-one of the year. Heeney just brilliant in that situation, has been for a long time. He's effectively a centre-half forward, Joey, and Wilkie did really well. 3 guys coming in to tackle.
Their pressure was elite. It was their 3rd highest pressure game for the year for St Kilda. They came with an intent. They came with a game plan, and we'll touch on it in a moment on what they try to do and take away from Sydney. But
bang.
And the combination of their senior players standing up and the kids was what excited St Kilda fans. You mentioned, Wilkie was brilliant. Jack Sinclair was sensational as well. And then the kids, Liam Henry, Mateus Filippo. Bit of tough love playing VFL. That contest from Sinclair was enormous. This bounce of the ball, my gosh.
He did only have 2 guys out, Ron.
Look at that.
You go, big boy.
But the kids stood up, as we touched on, Liam Henry and Mateus Filippo.
This was outstanding.
Everywhere.
This year, you put the loose man
Sharman,
back, Sharman comes across, bang. That's exactly what you want in that instance. Not trying to take the mark, just diffuse the problem. I thought they were awesome today. And they've been under a lot of heat as a football club for their tactics and how they want to play the game. But I tell you what, you have to give them a lot of credit for that fight and that desire.